All right, folks, welcome in. I'm Jake ELLENBOGEN. You probably know that because most of you, if you're watching me this late at night, are probably supporters of the channel. But if you did come along here and you don't even know what this is, be sure to hit the subscribe button, drop a comment, enjoy yourself. We have a great community here, a lot of conversation. I'm going to try and start doing this more. I really love live streaming, and I just have not been doing it nearly enough. So this year, definitely trying to commit to that more. We got some news. We got plenty of stuff to talk about, obviously. So I'm really excited about it. And, you know, before we get into it again, just be sure to like, subscribe, comment, hit the bell icon, all those things, the housekeeping checklist, if you will. But I also want to say I appreciate you guys being in here. It's not always easy to make content and have people watch it during this part of the season. I mean, obviously getting close to free agency, that's not necessarily true, but still. So I appreciate you guys being here. Want to start off, Coleman Shelton and the Rams have officially reached an agreement on a 2-year deal with an undisclosed value, according to Adam Schefter. My guess is 2 years, $18 million with incentives. I don't think people are ready to hear this, but he is going to start. They got him to be the starter, no doubt about it. There's really just not even, there's not a doubt in my mind. That's what they got him for. They brought him back because they want a 29-year-old center starting in a Super Bowl season. They don't want a second-year man who was a sixth rounder who was not drafted to be the starter in that position. Now, does that mean that Bo Limmer has no chance to ever be the starter? Of course not. Bo Limmer's probably going to be the starter next year or the year after. But for now, I like the move. I like the idea of having that stability, the familiarity, the veteran presence, the leadership. And keep in mind, you know, when you look at Matthew Stafford and the continuity that he built in 2023 with Coleman Shelton, there you go. But in addition to that, think about this. Sean McVay spoke on Coleman Shelton multiple times early 2024. And you know what he said? He said, we're trying everything we can to work out a deal. They wanted him back. They changed their mind. They pivoted to their backup plan in case they lost Kevin Dotson. They watched a lot of film on Jonah Jackson. They fell in love with him. They wanted to go in a different way. They wanted to go in a whole different lane. They wanted to have Avila at center. Now, again, I've probably said this on here before. I'll say it again. I don't know more than Sean McVay, but I have a theory that they gave up on Avila too quickly at center. I just do. I 100% believe they pulled the plug way too early at center. It is a position that takes a long time. He's a natural center, so I think they probably expected more right off the rip. But to go from college to the NFL when you were just starting at left guard to now go to center, it's a different responsibility. So I don't think they let that breathe, and I think they made a panic move. And again, it's a reminder, you know, you might trust in Leslie and Sean McVay more than me or you or whoever, but always understand these guys are prone to making the same mistakes we do in our everyday lives as well. So, you know, sometimes you could be too close to the action, and I can say with confidence, I believe that, you know, the Rams made a mistake with Jonah Jackson, and I don't necessarily believe it was signing Jonah Jackson. I believe it was what they did with him. To have a guy who was a guard all the time, his whole career, to then play center, which he had never played, with very limited preparation. I just, week one, I just didn't like that. I felt like that was very risky. I felt that like that was kind of careless on their part. And it put them in a weird spot because then, you know, you got him to make Alaric Jackson, or excuse me, Steve Avila your center. And Avila went back to guard. So it was like, well, Jonah Jackson is here, but now we have 3 starting capable guards, and Jonah Jackson doesn't look any good at center. Like, I don't know how that even fell through the cracks. You look at him against Miami, you look at him against the Lions, I don't care. He looked horrendous as a center. He looked good as a guard. So I like bringing in Shelton. I think it's really, I've called it a course correction on Twitter, on here. That's what it is. Jonah Jackson gets to reunite with his old coach, now is his head coach, and the Rams get to reunite with their center that they developed, that they feel good about. This is a guy that they got off waivers. They've really developed him. So I like this. And I'm not saying Shelton is a superstar or anything, but you don't have to have a superstar at center to win a Super Bowl. Brian Allen was the Rams center. He just retired. It's nothing against Brian Allen. He was actually really good. He had some injuries. I think it sidelined him and ruined his career. But it's just a reminder that center is not the position you need a really, really good player at. It's a position that you need communication at. It's a position that you need, smarts. You need brains. You need to learn on the fly. And I'll tell you right now, I think Bo Limmer is going to be a good center in this league. But he is not the starting center this year. I'm telling you right now, they didn't sign Coleman Shelton to be a depth piece. They signed him to be the guy. Like, that's how I feel. He didn't just play 2,200 snaps in 2 years to not start. And, if you want to make the argument, okay, well, maybe they won't come out and say it. There'll be a competition. My money's on Shelton to win that competition. There you go. But again, that's how I look at that. 2-year deal. I believe it's going to be 18 million, around 18 million incentive base. So probably like a 2-year, $13 million deal with some incentive bonuses in there. And I think when we look at this deal, I think it's going to be pretty much a 1-year deal. The second year, while it's there, he's going to have like very limited guarantees. That's how I see it happening. That's what I think is going to happen. I could be wrong, but that's what I think is going to happen. And I feel like that cap hit is going to be probably $4 or $5 million in 2025. So that's Coleman Shelton. We got that news out of the way. Next up, Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp is essentially either going to get released or traded tomorrow. Tomorrow's the day. It's going to be a sad day. It's a bummer. I feel for Cooper. He belongs here. He gave his heart and soul to this team, but it is a rough business. Robert Woods, Isaac Bruce, Todd Gurley, Kurt Warner. I've seen guys come and they go. And I mean, Kurt Warner won the Rams their first Super Bowl, their third ever championship in their history. And 4 years later, he's getting kicked out the door because of the Ravens 6th round pick, Mark Bulger, who they got. So I don't know. I think like for me, it's tough, but I get it. I think a lot of what it came down to, and we'll probably never hear this, but I think a lot of what it came down to was Cooper Kupp. They were really trying to save face last year. I said it, I made a video about it, and I'm willing to say the tough things. I love Cooper Kupp. I hate saying it. But when I was saying that they need to bench him or at least give him a lesser role and utilize Tutu Atwell and Jordan Whittington more, I meant it. I was serious about it because I think last year Kupp started to lose, as I said, the horizontally breaking routes. Like, God, I've said that so many times. I don't even want to repeat that again. But he was really just vertical. Like, that's really what he ended up being their deep threat. And so they were really missing that piece to what, Kupp was talking about. And I really think Kupp and Demarcus Robinson held back Tutu Atwell. And I think they held back Jordan Whittington. Now, understand when I say that, I'm not taking anything away from Kupp, the locker room guy, the guy that was mentoring these receivers, the guy that was leading by an example, the guy that was working harder than anybody, the guy that has Aaron Donald level work ethic, the guy that is a extension of the coaching staff. He's like having a quarterback or a head coach on the field. Cooper Kupp is an effing genius. Everybody that I've talked to has said Cooper Kupp is the smartest dude in the room. So understand that. This is not me crapping all over Cooper Kupp by any stretch. It's really unfortunate. And I have a theory. I brought it up today or earlier today on the NFC West Roundtable. I said, look, Cooper Kupp, the reason why I feel like he hasn't lasted as long is because of the position he was being used in. Why do you think Robert Woods fell off a cliff? You ever think about that? You ever think about that? Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, these guys that were utilized in a way like blocking, taking on heavy contact over the middle, constantly in motion. Like these guys, they have dealt with a lot of wear and tear. The reason why Davante Adams and, in my opinion, Mike Evans, who look like they haven't really aged much, they haven't gotten hurt as much because they're on the outside. I think X receivers are protected a little bit more. When you're a Z or a slot and you're being motioned and you're blocking and all that, I just think that's my thing with Kupp and Woods is that I think they started dealing with injuries because I think they were utilized so much either over the middle of the field where they're getting increased contact or just as blockers. That's wear and tear on your body, and that's why I hope they protect Puka Nacua from that, and I've heard that from other people as well. Davante Adams has been on the outside. He hasn't been the wear and tear guy. He hasn't had to, be essentially a tight end in an 11 personnel grouping. That's the thing. I think that actually keeps him working as well as he does. So credit Cooper Kupp. He took on a huge workload and he's been everything the Rams could ask for. And unfortunately, like the buck stops here. And look, understand this. 2017, they drafted him in the 3rd round. This 3rd round pick ended up being an all-timer. When the hell do you draft a 3rd round pick that ends up being an all-time wide receiver for your organization? That you just got to give Kupp credit. And I like it sucks because I know the Seattle Seahawks were really upset because they cut Tyler Lockett, who meant a ton to their organization. Sad day. And then all of a sudden the DK Metcalf news went crazy. And they were upset because they're like, okay, well, we just cut Tyler Lockett. We wanted this to be the special Tyler Lockett day. And now everybody's talking about DK Metcalf. The Rams don't really have a choice. Tomorrow is the new league year. If you cut Kupp now, we're going to be talking about other things. He's not going to get his own day, and that's kind of the disappointment of it. That's why I'm saddened by it. Because Kupp is going to have the news is going to get buried. He is going to end up getting cut or traded, and then something's going to happen. The Rams can't just put their free agency on hold to give Kupp a day of the news about him being released or traded. It just doesn't work that way. These are NFL teams. You got to run a certain way. But according to Ben Albright, friend of mine, and per JPA Football, again, I say this because I have nothing against JPA Football. I understand aggregate accounts get a lot of flack, but I also understand as somebody that's a content creator, they put in a lot of work. Say what you will, maybe they copy and paste here and there, but JPA Football is following everything all day, 24/7, and reposting and making graphics and what have you. That's not easy to do, But the reason why I'm saying no disrespect is because I don't know if Ben said this personally. I don't know. I haven't asked him. It just says that per Ben Albright of, talking to Ben Albright, JPA Football said this. So I am not liable. Like, I'm not saying Ben said this. I'm saying JPA Football said Ben said this. So understand that. Cowboys very in the mix for Cooper Kupp. Cowboys, they got CeeDee Lamb. Cooper Kupp would be a nice fit for them. They're trying not to spend a ton of money, so that would be interesting. I would have to imagine they have to spend more than $6 million, so that would make Cooper Kupp the most money that they've spent on an outside free agent since Greg Hardy in 2015. That would be crazy. But talk about a freaking high character, high class, like the freaking the polar opposite there. Greg Hardy, scumbag, all of that. And then you got Cooper Kupp up here who's like a saint. That is a wild, damn. Anyway, So yeah, Cooper Kupp is getting released or traded tomorrow. He's not going to be a Ram. It is a bummer, but again, I'm trying to expand. I'm trying to expand on this. I think Kupp still has two things can be true. Kupp still has room left in that tank. I think he can get healthy. He could have a good year and turn his career around. But also, I think, while that's true, I think the Cooper Kupp that we know and love, that was that Triple Crown threat that looked amazing in 2022 as well before he went down, I think he's gone. See, he's too much of a work heavy guy, the work ethic, all that. He's too much of a gym rat. He's too much of a attention to detail, intelligent dude to not be able to produce. He's going to have 100-yard games if he gets the opportunity. He's too, he cares too much about this sport. He loves the sport too much. He puts in too much work to not have some good games. But, at the same time, and this is why they moved on from him, or they're going to, is that they're paying him $29.7 million is his cap hit this year. They were paying him to be that franchise wide receiver. And so they essentially displaced Cooper Kupp with a guy they believe can play at that level in Davante Adams. And he offers something that the Rams, frankly, have never had since 2017. Well, even beyond that, they haven't had that since, God, I don't even know. So Davante Adams just gives them a threat on the outside that they haven't had. Is he faster than Brandon Cooks? No. But as far as a route runner and his ability to win off the line of scrimmage and his red zone ability, I mean, that's one thing. Cooper Kupp's really good in the red zone, really good in the end zone, comes down with the football, but Davante Adams might be the best red zone threat in the league. I mean, in condensed format, condensed motions and everything, Davante Adams, as I said yesterday, leads the NFL in touchdowns since I believe it was 2019. So this guy knows how to score touchdowns, and that's that. Oh my God, something happened. I see Deuce Falco just gifted me 20 subs or memberships, is what they're called. Appreciate you, Deuce. Thank you so much. That's awesome. Well, I got some other stuff to talk about, but I don't want to take so long because I know people come and they go throughout these live streams, and I want to make sure if you put your super chats in there, I'm at least acknowledging them before you leave. So we'll start off. Deuce Falco, thank you so much for the 20 gifts. I appreciate that. That is freaking awesome. Put a W in the chat for Deuce. SoCal, thank you for the 5. Well, we need a center. Carter killed the Rams, and they play the Eagles and Lions this year. Too much to risk again, and still no linebacker. Yeah, well, we'll see what ends up happening with linebacker. It's on my agenda, so we will talk about that next. But I appreciate you, SoCal. It's like every stream, SoCal is always dropping a super chat. I appreciate that. No shades yet. Too sad about Kupp. Yeah, I'm with you there, Retro. Thank you for the 2. Tyler Sweeney, thank you for the 2. Really appreciate you guys. You guys are freaking awesome. Yeah, Puka Nacua also is going to wear 12. I don't love it. I got to be honest with you. I thought I'd like it. It just doesn't look right. I don't know. Maybe it's because I liked Van Jefferson in 12, and I feel like I haven't seen 12 in a little bit. Maybe it's because I'm an idiot and somebody's wearing 12 that I'm not aware of. But no, I personally, I thought 15 was perfect for Adams, and I thought 17 was perfect for Nacua. But, Kupp changed his number from 18 to 10, and I thought that looked really good. So I don't know. I mean, I guess he's just following the, he's following the footsteps of Cooper Kupp. Nothing wrong with that. And I understand you guys want to hear, the rest, future, all this stuff. I just wanted to give Cooper Kupp his due. He deserves to be talked about, and there deserves to be some dialogue and some explanation as to why the Rams are moving on from such an important stable in this, in this organization. I mean, you could argue that touchdown catch in the end zone, that could be a statue. I know everyone talks about Aaron Donald getting a statue, but, Cooper Kupp won Super Bowl MVP. Matthew Stafford, he has just absolutely changed this team overnight, it seems like. He was the missing piece. So say what you will. I mean, there are other guys that could get statues. Maybe you give one to a bunch of guys. I don't know. Woods also changed his number. Isn't that funny? Woods changed his number from 17 to 2. Kupp changed his number from 18 to 10. And now Puka just changed his number from 17 to 12. So there's always number changes and all of that. My guess is Cooper Kupp is going to go to either the Chargers or the Raiders. I feel like that's where he's going to go. Dark horse here. I don't think he's going to the Cowboys. Dark horse here is the Patriots. Look out for the Patriots. Play with, his teammate from college, Eastern Washington, Kendrick Bourne. Get to play with a young quarterback. Get to play with Mike Vrabel, who's one of the better, coaches in football. I could see that. I could see that. I think the best fit for him, to be honest with you, is probably the Chargers. They playing alongside McConkey, having a quarterback like Herbert, having a team that's trying to fight for a Super Bowl. I like the fit, and you get to stay in LA. So, anyway, let's move on here. Linebacker is what you guys wanted to talk about. Super chat. It's not loading. That's not good. Oh, there it is. Okay. Rudy, thank you for the 5. Who is the biggest threat to us in the NFC West? I personally think it's Seattle, and Darnold takes them to the wild card. I think it's the Cardinals. The 49ers have an easy schedule. They have a good team. Not a great team. They have a good team. They can win games. They got a good coach. Regardless of what you feel about Kyle Shanahan, he's good enough to win games. The Cardinals are the second best team right now in the NFC. Okay? Seattle, we don't even know what's going on with the offensive line. Fans don't even want to go to their games right now. We don't even know with Seattle. They just traded away Geno Smith and DK Metcalf, which I think I agree with both decisions in a different way, but I don't know what they're doing on offense. Are they going to address the offensive line? Do they even have enough capital to address the offensive line? That's my thing. 49ers, they're letting all these picks go away. They're eating a lot of money. Or they're gaining a lot of these compensatory picks for 2026. They're letting pretty much everybody go away, eating a lot of money. About $80 million in dead money, maybe more, close to $100. And I think eyes are on 2026. The Rams are trying to win now, but understand this. They're not all in. All in, when you're at a poker table, is when you put all your chips to the center. You're recognizing that win or lose, it's over. I'm either going home a winner or I'm losing everything I have. That is what all in means. Period. The Rams are not all in. All in would be trading away all your picks. They haven't done that. They have a first rounder. They traded away a second rounder to move up to get a pick last year. They didn't trade one away for a prospect or a player, but they traded one away for a prospect that they liked. So they're not all in. But here's the deal. They have established that they are trying to win a Super Bowl. There's a difference. I like win now. You know why I like that? All in sounds reckless. I don't think it was reckless for them to, try to win now when they got Matthew Stafford in 2021. Just like I don't think it's reckless now that Matthew Stafford is officially back. Deal is, reworked and all of that. And now you have a chance to win a Super Bowl twice, essentially, because it's likely going to be 2 years with him. We'll see if he sticks around a third. But this is what I'm talking about, and this is why the Rams don't actually get enough respect. Because what a lot of people don't know, guys, and I mentioned it yesterday, is that the Rams, right now, they've spent as much money as anybody in free agency. Okay? They've spent a lot of money. But the thing about the Rams is that all of their deals, if you notice, are 3-year deals. I don't remember the last time they've given somebody a 4-year deal. Was it Kupp? Is Kupp the last 4-year deal the Rams have given out? That's what I mean. But do you know what that means? That means when you look at their cap table, the Rams in 2027 have more cap space than, well, now the Steelers have more cap space. The Rams are second in the league in 2027 cap space. Like, that's what we're talking about right now. The Rams are in the bottom half of the league in 2026. They're telling us where their window is. Their window is 2025 and 2026, but 2027, they have $256 million in cap space. In 2027, here are the guys on the roster. Havenstein has a $1.2 million void deal, so he can't play. It's just a void contract. Alaric Jackson's under contract. 0 guaranteed salary, $24.4 million cap hit. Poona Ford's under contract, $11 million cap hit, 0 guaranteed salary. Jared Verse is under contract, $4.8 million cap hit. And then you have Braden Fisk under contract, $2.9 million. They both have some guaranteed money. The Rams' guarantees are a little bit over $3 million in 2027, meaning that this is a complete reboot of the Rams, essentially. It gives them a lot of flexibility then because they can spend in free agency at that point. They can go out and get their quarterback. So maybe they don't get their quarterback in the draft in 2026. Maybe they're looking at 2027 and saying, look, if anybody becomes available, we have all the assets in the world and all the cap space in the world to go out and get our guy. And we're going to find out. We are about to find out how some of these quarterbacks do, man, because let me tell you right now, it's going to be interesting. How's it going to work? You know, not everything works out. So, I mean, let's talk about this. So if you bring up the depth chart of every quarterback in the league, we'll go through it right now. Josh Allen, he's set in stone as the Bills quarterback, right? Tua Tagovailoa, you don't want Tua because he's damaged goods. As sad as that sounds, like guys always hurt. You don't want Tua, but he would probably be available. Zach Wilson will probably be available, but think bigger. Drake May, how are these next couple of years going to go in New England? Are they going to extend him? Are they not? I don't think Drake May will be available, but keep an eye on it. Justin Fields. Did you notice he signed a 2-year deal with the Jets? Did you notice that? Justin Fields signed a 2-year deal with the Jets, not a 3-year deal. Justin Fields could develop and then move on and go right to the Rams. Because think about this. He becomes a free agent in 2027. If Matthew Stafford isn't back, then Justin Fields would be one of the top quarterbacks, assuming he at least plays pretty well. He'd be one of the top quarterbacks in free agency, and the Rams, I just told you, had the second most cap space. So they'd probably be the favorites. Lamar Jackson, he's locked in. Joe Burrow is not. The Bengals, watch out. If Joe Burrow is available in 2026, that hurts because you're not moving on from Stafford that early, in all likelihood. In 2027, though, if Joe Burrow becomes available, now it gets a little interesting. All right, Deshaun Watson, absolutely not. We're just going through, though, so don't blame me. Kenny Pickett, probably not, no. Russell Wilson, although he's not even a Steelers quarterback currently, he's a free agent. No, absolutely not. CJ Stroud, how are things going to go in Houston? How are things going to go in Houston? We don't know. We have no idea. Maybe they go well, maybe they don't. But I'm going to say for now, CJ Stroud is probably in Houston. Anthony Richardson. This is really interesting to me because Anthony Richardson, if he gets beat out by Daniel Jones, he's probably going to ask for a trade. And if you were to go to the Rams to be the third string quarterback and develop and learn under Sean McVay, behind Matthew Stafford and Jimmy Garoppolo, he could be in play to be the future guy. He's another one of those, another team's trash is another team's treasure. Richardson's still young. Who knows? Trevor Lawrence. We have no idea what to make of Trevor Lawrence. Lawrence has had injuries. Lawrence has not played with... So, I mean, he really hasn't played with anybody great. Doug Peterson, of course, won a Super Bowl. But we'll see what Liam Cohen does. Is Cohen going to be good for him? Yes or no? I don't know. But Trevor Lawrence could be in play. Will Levis, I'm not like thrilled about Will Levis, but maybe they trade for him. I don't know. Bo Nix, he's not going anywhere. I think the Broncos love him. Patrick Mahomes isn't going anywhere. Geno Smith will probably retire. Justin Herbert, keep an eye on him. Who knows what happens with the Chargers if they can't get over the hump. Dak Prescott. Jalen Hurts isn't going anywhere. Locked in, won a Super Bowl. Jaden Daniels isn't going anywhere. Giants don't have a single quarterback that I could even mention. Caleb Williams, I guess, see how things go with the Bears. Jared Goff. Jordan Love. Who knows what happens there, right? JJ McCarthy. Like, do the Vikings actually pay him? What happens there? The Falcons, Michael Penix Jr., well, TBD. Bryce Young, do they pay him? TBD. Derek Carr is going to be up there in age, so no. Baker Mayfield. What happens there? If they can't win a Super Bowl in the next 2 years, do you think Tampa is dying to keep Baker Mayfield? Interesting, right? Kyler Murray. I mean, if the Cardinals don't make the playoffs this year, do you think the Cardinals are keeping Kyler Murray? I don't. Yeah, I mean, there are options out there. Just keep an eye on them. But like I said, this is in the way of future. I don't remember what the original super chat was. That's a funny thing. I don't know. Maybe I just went off on a tangent. Anthony D, thank you for the 10. What are we thinking about inside linebacker and quarterback, draft or free agency? Thanks for going live, Jake. Absolutely. It's the eve of the actual new league year. I feel like I had to. It would have been just a disservice to everybody, right? Linebacker. They drafted a linebacker when they had 2 picks in the first round. They drafted Alec Ogletree in 2012 when they drafted Tavon Austin. Do I think that they're going to draft a linebacker in the first round? Absolutely not. I think they're going to go the Ernest Jones route and draft one in like the 3rd round, one of those compensatory picks, whatever. Or they're going to sign somebody and draft in day 3. That's what I think. As far as corner, I think they like their corners a lot more than other people do. I think that it's really between, we'll get into it a little bit later, but it's between re-signing Akello or adding another cornerback via free agency, should Akello walk, or, adding somebody in the draft. That's what it really feels like there. And then thank you for the super chat. And then Retro Schmetro, thank you for the 2. You think we will still go after Milton this year? I mean, it's certainly possible, but Milton, the problem here is that I think Milton wants to be somewhere where he can compete. And I think he's kind of just looking at it like, like, I don't know, maybe. Who knows? But, okay, let's get into, because I have like actual bullet points and stuff I want to cover. I normally go off the cuff and I can, but then I miss stuff. And then I'm like, it's funny. I'm like in the middle of saying bye to you guys, ending the stream. And then right when I say bye and I end the stream, I get up, I go and I fill up my water or whatever. And I'm like, damn it, I was supposed to say this, this, and this. It happens every time. It'll still happen. I'm sure I'm missing something. Linebackers. Market isn't fully dried up yet for the Rams, but there's still some solid players that are taking a lot less. And this is why, on one hand, if you want somebody like, say, if you want familiarity, you want like, some consistency, you want to bring back everybody, Roseboom is going to be, I think, easy to obtain. I think Roseboom is going to be easy to retain. And the reason being is because we just saw a Landon Roberts, who was like one of the best linebackers in the league this year, get $3 million. Okay. And we just saw Devin Bush, who probably had his best year as a pro, get $3 million with the Browns. Like, why were these guys re-upping? And Landon Roberts went to the Raiders. But at the same time, if those guys are signing for $3 million and say the value's dropping, wouldn't you be more inclined to get a linebacker? And follow the formula here. The Rams are telling you, yeah, they added Tutu Atwell back, who, he's younger, but Stafford 37, Poona Ford 29 over Bobby Brown is 24. Adding Devontae Adams, who's 32. Adding Coleman Shelton, who's 29. They don't have like an age limit this year. Like, I know in the past that they've focused on finding younger players, and I think they did this. They did that this offseason, the past offseason, but it doesn't seem like they have like an age limit here. So I think that, there are other guys in play. What I would say is this. If they go out and get a veteran, I like Eric Kendricks, 1-year deal, veteran guy, Omar Spades can learn from. Had a really good year in Dallas. Tyrell Dodson. I understand if you talk to Seattle fans, they're like, get him, he's terrible. But I watched the film with him in Miami. He was good in Miami, and when he was in Buffalo, he was really good at the end of his career in Buffalo. So I think Dodson's a good player. He's an outstanding coverage linebacker. I think he's one of the best in the NFL. So I wanted him last year. I want him again this year. I'm planting my flag. The linebacker I want the Rams to get right now is Tyrell Dodson. That's who I want. Good athlete, good run defender. I think if you can get him for a decent value, by all means, give me Dodson. Next up, EJ Speed from the Colts. I think Speed's an underrated player, good athlete, good tackler, good run defender. Has his moments, in coverage, but so do most linebackers nowadays. I like EJ Speed a lot. I like him as an option. I like Jack Sanborn on the younger side, whereas EJ Speed's 29, Dodson's in that 26, 27 age range, and then Jack Sanborn's 24 years of age. If you're trying to go out and find somebody that might be a really good deal right now, I think Sanborn, could really work out for them. Nate Landman is an absolute killer in the run, in the run defensive department. So the Falcons basically announced that he'd be available. Like, they're not going to tender him. That's a case there to be made. Christian Roseboom. I think Roseboom and Jake Hummel right now, if I had to put money on it, I think I'm pretty comfortable saying things can change. But based on what we've seen, I feel like Roseboom and Hummel will be back. They're not tendering Hummel, but they'll get Hummel on a cheaper deal at least, and they might bring back Roseboom. Troy Reeder's probably gone. So then you look at cornerback. You got a market that is pretty darn dried up. There are some really good names on here, so I'm going to list them off. Akello's my number one option. I mean, you see the jersey in the back, but all jokes aside, this guy is much better than most guys his age. Okay? Late bloomer, and as his career has gone on, first off, he's never missed a game for the Rams. The best ability is availability. Never missed a game for the Rams due to injury. He was playing so well. He was playing so well at the end of the season last year shutting down Justin Jefferson, shutting down Jordan Addison, shutting down A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith when it mattered. And it's like, it's weird to me how he doesn't seem to have, I mean, maybe he does, but I haven't heard that he's getting a ton of interest right now. That can change. I mean, I'm seeing guys who aren't as good as him getting signed for a ton, and I'm like, why are you paying that guy? He just gave up 145 passer rating when targeted, and you just gave that guy $10 million over 3 years, $10 million each year. Wild. Kendall Fuller is an option here. Has familiarity with not only Sean McVay, but also Aubrey Pleasant. Was in Washington the year they both were there. He's still a really good player. If Witherspoon leaves, Fuller becomes an opportunity there for them. Also has familiarity with Cam Curl. They played in Washington together, so I like the connection there if that is the case. Asante Samuel Jr. is also intriguing. He is very talented. He's young. To me, Okello might be a 1 year, maybe a 2 year, maybe a 3 year deal. Kendall Fuller is probably a 1 to 2 year deal. Asante Samuel Jr. coming off an injury. This is going to be a 1 year prove it deal. This is going to be him trying to reset his market value. And I could see him as an option. Staying in LA. He's a really good football player, but he dealt with some injuries. Samuel's a good option if Okello's gone. Stephon Gilmore, I don't know why. He's 34, going to be 35. I don't know why, but I feel like the Rams might go after Stephon Gilmore. I mean, he is a former Defensive Player of the Year, which keeps him getting all the contracts he gets, but Okello is a better corner. At this stage in the game, Okello is a better corner. Rasul Douglas is another one. If you lose Okello Witherspoon, you want to have that same archetype, that body composition. Rasul Douglas is a longer corner, not as old as Gilmore, like a 30, 31-year-old guy. So you could see that. And then Shaq Griffin, I could also see. To be honest with you, the best option is Okello. The second best option is Kendall Fuller. And the third best option is Asante Samuel. And to be honest with you, I don't see them getting rid of Darius Williams. I mean, we'll see tomorrow if they make any of those moves. Feels like they're going to keep him at least this year. They're going to keep probably everybody except for Jonah Jackson, who they traded away from last year's free agency. They'll probably end up keeping Parkinson, not trading him away. They'll probably keep Darius Williams and then maybe move on from after the season. But understand this. This is what I keep saying. As long as they bring back Okello or, they get somebody like that, Okello, Fuller, Samuel. Personally, I think Okello is a lot better option. But as long as they get him, you also have Darius Williams, right? You have Kobe Durant. You have Darion Kendrick, who they're high on, by the way. Or at least last year they were. I haven't heard about Darion Kendrick in a minute, but they were really excited about him last year. Unfortunately, when he went down, they thought he was going to take a huge leap. And then Forbes, and not just Forbes, but also other guys that got into the mix, like Josh Wallace and Charles Woods. So, look, I wouldn't be shocked if they just say, look, we got our guy. If they bring back Okello, they run it back with the same cornerback room, and that's that. Would not be shocked. They don't have to draft a corner, although I think they do, but I don't think necessarily. Yeah. And can't forget Jair Alexander. Tomorrow, my prediction is Jair Alexander is released. I don't think he's going to get traded. I think right now, where I feel, here's where I am on corner. Like, take all the, my respect I have for Kello and all that out the window. Realistically speaking, I do think Okello is in play here, but I don't think it's a guarantee. So when you look at the corners, you have Kello. I think he's legit. He's one of the top options. I think Gilmore is legit. I think that could actually be a real option there. And I think Jair Alexander. But you know what? I'd probably lean Jair Alexander as my favorite after Kello. I can't help but feel like that's kind of the direction they want to go in if they choose to move on from Kello. Like Jair Alexander kind of fits the bill, right? He's only going to sign for a 1-year deal if he gets cut. He's going to try to, re-up his market value. He has played in big-time games. When he's healthy, he's one of the elite corners. And, people worrying about his locker room cancer and all of this because people talk about that. Remember Marcus Peters? They didn't have any issue bringing him in. Remember Jalen Ramsey? He got some bad, publicity. Didn't have any issue bringing him in. How about Dante Fowler Jr.? Didn't have any issue bringing him in. They've brought in plenty of guys, So, look, I mean, they brought in, some guys that I was surprised by. They had a guy who got a DUI in the middle of the year, and he still played. They didn't push him out the door. They gave him an opportunity to work. And he just went and got paid by their arch rival. So, yeah, I wouldn't rule out Jair Alexander. That's what I'm saying. Case in point, yeah, Ndamukong Suh, Aqib Talib, yeah. I would not rule out Jair Alexander. And we don't know both sides. What I will say is that if Sean McVay wanted to go after Jair Alexander and the Rams wanted to, you know what Sean McVay can do? He can get on the phone with Matt LaFleur and ask him, hey, what's the deal? What's the story? Because they are friends. This is what coaches do. This is what this business is all about. You don't do it before he gets cut because then they'll be like, all right, well, now we're going to hold out and we know we can get you to trade for him. You do it after. Hey, what do you think about this guy? Yeah, Alex, Janoris Jenkins. Don't you remember? He had this giant-ass rap sheet. He did nothing with the Rams. He never hurt a fly. He had to transfer from Florida because of how many off-the-field issues he had in college. Also a reminder that just because somebody does something in college doesn't mean that they're that person forever. And people make mistakes and they can get that second chance. But yeah, like Janoris Jenkins, absolutely. Great point. What, do you go to North Alabama? I think it was. Is the same school Tyreek Hill went to? I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong. Maybe it's South Alabama. Who knows? Let's see. Please, no more Rose Boom, says SoCal. Thank you for the 2, man. I really don't want to pick on Rose Boom. I think he's a good player, or quality player, right? I just think that what the Rams need, because the bottom line is, and I was just talking about this today on my Yankees show on Bleacher Report, when the Yankees are building right now, all they should be thinking, and I'm not saying this is what they do think, but all they should be thinking about, any contender in the MLB should be thinking about knocking off the Dodgers. What do I have to do to beat the Dodgers? That's the deal. Well, with the Rams, all they should be thinking about is beating the Eagles. They are the cream of the crop right now. You were close to beating them. How do you get over the hump? And if Saquon Barkley is that issue, then you have to plug that issue. You went out and you got Poona Ford. I kept telling people, just because you got Poona Ford doesn't mean that your run defense is going to be miraculously way better. Because guess what? Bobby Brown was really good in the run. The issue is that second level. When he got to the second level, he was gone. See, Roseboom is not bad, but Roseboom has issues where he gets caught up into the traffic. He can't sift through the traffic. What I mean by that is he has a hard time deconstructing blocks. When he's on a block, he gets stuck. He's actually a good athlete, but he gets stuck. And he's not going to take the best angles either. So that is what hurts Roseboom. But he's not a bad player. They could get away with him starting, but if you want to beat the Eagles, and they could, Obviously, you could beat the Eagles with the same exact defense. The Rams can win the Super Bowl with the same exact team that they had in 2024 and just adding Devontae Adams. The entire point that I keep making is that doing this and doing that to make your team better just widens the margin for error. I can make this many mistakes before I have a chance of losing. That's what it means. I can win a Super Bowl with Jared Goff, but my margin for error is here. When I have Stafford, it's here. That's what we talk about. The idea that you can't win a Super Bowl with a certain quarterback isn't true. If they're in the NFL, you can win a Super Bowl with them. I mean, we saw a Super Bowl where Russell Wilson barely had to do anything. The defense went off. There was a kick return touchdown against the best offense in football. One of the greatest offenses ever. 55 passing touchdown Peyton Manning. And the Eagles won 43-8. Russell Wilson barely had to do anything. What do you have to do? The defense dominated from the word go. So yes, anybody can win a Super Bowl. Any quarterback. But it's about how slim is that margin for error? Because guess what? This is what you're operating with if you have that bad quarterback or that not so great quarterback. You can still do it, but you have to be nearly perfect in order to do it. And teams have found a way. When you have an elite all-time defense like the Baltimore Ravens did, you can win a Super Bowl with Trent Dilfer. There you go. Alex, thank you for the 10. I think the Rams have decided they'd rather shortchange the linebacker position to invest it elsewhere throughout the D. Plus, they keep hitting on UDFAs like Littleton, Rose, and Spates. It is what it is. That's true. Absolutely true. No doubt about it. A lot of truth to that. I still kind of think, if I had to put money on it, betting on them signing a linebacker seems really counterintuitive. But if I had to put money on it, it's probably Rose Boom. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but, the important thing is don't look at it like, really, they brought Rose Boom back, but they didn't bring back Hoyt. It's going to be two different, completely different, dollar amounts, cap space. So, yeah, we'll see. I think I got all the super chats. Cool. Yeah, so that is that on that front. Keep an eye on Jair Alexander. Definitely keep an eye on Jair Alexander because that should probably, like I said, I think he's going to get released tomorrow. I think he and Kupp probably get released around the same time. And I'm not saying the Rams will go and get Jair, but I think they're going to be interested or at least consider it. All right, number 5 here in this list that I got here is edge. I love the days where I don't have to sit here and pray to God the Rams have to get an edge rusher or edge defender. And guess what? Those days are here. I don't have to because the Rams have two guys that are really, really good at football. Jared Verse, Byron Young. They have a kid that you might not really have gotten to see play much, but I believe in his ability. I've spoken with him. He's exactly what the Rams want in a player. Brennan Jackson. He is going to be really good, I think, if he gets the opportunity. He could be that third edge. And don't sleep on Keir Thomas. A lot of, decent control on his contract. And this is a guy that just has fought hard to stick around this roster. And when his best was required in the playoffs, he showed up and showed out. From week 18, where he finally got an opportunity against Seattle, to then the playoffs, this guy was nails. So don't sleep on Keir Thomas. Don't sleep on Brennan Jackson. Nick Hampton's coming off a season-ending injury. I believe it was a torn pectoral, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not so confident Nick Hampton is going to be one of those guys. We'll see. I just don't know if the body composition matches up. If you're trying to replace Michael Hoyt, I don't know if it does. Are they going to keep the cheetah package? Are they going to get rid of it? I think a lot of that was predicated on the fact that Michael Hoyt could play interior as well as on the edge. I think that kind of hurts it a little bit, but here are some options to keep an eye on. Azeez Ojulari. The 49ers are currently looking at him, meaning Azeez Ojulari probably doesn't have a huge market value right now because the 49ers don't have a lot of cap to spend and they're not trying to spend it. So Azeez Ojulari is an option. Has kind of been playing that second fiddle to Kayvon Thibodeau and, of course, Brian Burns in New York with the Giants. Von Miller. Now, would I do this? No, but keep an eye on Von Miller. I'm just saying he's either going to retire or I have a weird feeling he's going to join either the Broncos, the Rams, or Raheem Morris and the Falcons. So keep an eye on Von Miller. If he signs for cheap, I could actually see him coming back and being a rotational pass rusher. Normally you wouldn't think that, but Von Miller basically was the third down rusher that would come in and help the Bills. And the reason why it was so brutal and they had to move on from him is because he was getting paid a premium. If the Rams got him for cheap to be a situational rusher, I'd be okay with it. I have issues about the way Vaughn left and all that, whatever. But if he came back to the Rams on a cheap deal, I'm for it. Bolsters the defense that's already really good and doesn't need him. Leonard Floyd is already in Atlanta, by the way. Football 99. It's funny how quickly I think that happened 2 minutes after it was announced that he was getting cut by the 49ers. Yeah, definitely no tampering going on. Anyway, Josh Uche, okay? Big fan of Joshua Uche. I've mentioned him for years, and I hope the Rams kick the tires on him. If they're going to add a third edge defender, add a guy with some versatility that can also play off-ball linebacker. Tied for 22nd in win rate in 2024. He was 6th in win rate in 2022 when he actually got a chance to really play. 56 pressures in 2022. He's a good player. He just has kind of gotten pushed aside. And then unfortunately the Chiefs traded for him and didn't even utilize him. So I think this guy can play in this league. Obviously his 2022 season was crazy good. Josh Uche is still really young. I like the fit there. Darrell Taylor is another one. Taylor is another potential option to replace a Michael Hoyt. 6'4", 255. So again, he's not Michael Hoyt's 275 or whatever he was playing at the end of the road. But Taylor had an 11.1 pass rush win rate, 12th in run stop percentage among all edge defenders. You're getting a well-rounded edge defender. He's still available. He's probably not too pricey at this point. I think he makes sense. I think Uche makes sense. I think Von Miller makes sense. Dante Fowler Jr., would he want to come back to the Rams as a situational rusher? Probably not. I'm sure he feels like he can start, but he does make sense if he wants to. Matt Judon getting up there in age. Does he maybe do that? And then Morgan Fox. Interesting. Does he come back for a reunion with the Rams where he would probably be in the Michael Hoyt role, where he could play in the, off the edge a little bit. He could play in the interior. He's kind of the closest thing on this little list that I came up with. I'm not saying Morgan Fox is a special talent or anything like that, but I could see them doing something like that. So look out. Anyway, moving on to offensive tackles. So as far as the offensive tackle depth, Jedrick Wills is who I'm looking out for. I hope they do add him. I think it's a no-brainer. If this guy moves over to right tackle, I think he is going to play at the level he was playing in college and be a really, really good starting right tackle in this league. So I'm hoping Jedrick Wills gets an opportunity. Stone Forsythe is the guy to look out for. He was on that Seattle offensive line. I'm not saying he was the greatest ever, but he's a tackle here. And if you're looking for some tackle depth, this is a guy who, Scott Huff can attest to, because Huff coached him as the offensive line coach in Seattle, and now he's the tight end coach for the Rams. And just because he might not coach Stone Forsythe doesn't mean he won't have some insight. Or maybe the Rams don't, ask him and be like, hey, what do you think about, Stone Forsythe? Should we add him? I like that. Isaiah Wynn could play pretty much every position on the offensive line. Really good versatility. Was moved to guard. I think he's more of a right tackle, but he could play guard. He's somebody that when he's healthy and he's fully healthy, he's a really good starter. He's had some great, some great opportunities and has come through. But as of late, he hasn't quite been the same. Still not a bad player. Keep an eye on him. Dylan Radunes, former second-round pick, that the Titans had. He's available to me. Another right tackle option. Or you could bring back Joseph Noteboom. I'm waiting for the chat to catch up. I know some of you are pissed that I just said that. Stafford deal is hiding for something. Yeah, I don't know what the Stafford deal is. I don't know the exact deal. I honestly wouldn't be against bringing back Noteboom for cheap to be the sixth man and be your guy that can play guard or tackle. I know people don't like him, but let me also say this. A lot of the guys that we're talking about are Joseph Notebooms or Christian Rosebooms or Troy Readers on other teams. So I got to be fair to these guys. While, Rams fans might complain about a Troy Reader, a Christian Roseboom, a Noteboom, so forth, understand that other teams are probably complaining about Shaq Griffin. They're probably complaining about Matt Judon. They're probably complaining about Darrell Taylor, right? That's the misconception here. Just because they're not Rams and they're different players doesn't necessarily mean they're better. And that's an important distinction here. And also coming from an organization like the Rams and, being all upset that you didn't get that guy from a bad organization like the Jaguars. I mean, you're not always right on that sense. We'll just say that. Fun fact, the Rams have just about the same starting 11 as they did for their offense in 2023. Just add Adams instead of Kupp. Now, let's wrap it up with this. Are the Rams done? They got a reported $24 million in cap space currently, according to 24.9, according to Over the Cap. Matthew Stafford's contract isn't in there. I see only $4 million guaranteed salary. That's not true. I believe it's fully guaranteed this year. That's what I have heard. Devontae Adams, $14 million cap hit. That is in there. Poona Ford's $5 million cap hit is in there. Jimmy Garoppolo's $4.5 million cap hit is in there. But Tutu Atwell's is not. It's not in there. So that's not factored in, and neither is Coleman Shelton, but neither are some of the other things. So, looking at the cap calculator, I could show you guys. Let's do it. All right. Looking at the cap calculator here. So we got, what the hell is going on? Why is it grayed out? I don't like this at all. Reload. Is it? Yeah, we'll just do that. And then Coleman, Shelton. We're just going to put a placeholder in here. Don't read too much into it. I'll just say that this is likely going to be the cap hit. It's going to be around $5 million. So if we're doing the math there, it's not even accounting for Tutu Atwell's contract, which is annoying. All right, let's put a placeholder again because this is annoying. Tyler Johnson is the placeholder, so no, I'm not giving him $10 million. So they have about $11.8 million in cap space projected, but now this is what I would do. Stafford is probably going to be like a $45 million cap hit. So it goes down a little bit. So you have about 15.8. Then you can release Cooper Kupp here, puts you about 23.83. So that gives you about $20 million because you do have to save money for the draft class. So keep in mind, as it gets closer, think about this, as it starts to get closer and you start to lose cap space and you're running out, you can always use void years. I'm not saying they will, because look, there's nothing in 2028. Now, if you looked at like the Eagles, they have stuff in like 2032. I'm not saying you have to do it. I'm not saying they will, but you could always use void years. You could even, and this is making it, and I want to actually show you this, because people always say all the time, oh yeah, just restructure. Yeah, but do you understand what restructures are? Let's look at this. If you restructure Kevin Dotson, you can save $7.6 million in cap, right? So now look at this. So this looks great, right? His cap number is 10.2. Well, now in 2026, his cap number is 25 million. His last year. So do you want to do that? If you do, and this is an option for the Rams, make no mistake about it. Plus, they could totally get out of this if, say, Dotson falls off a cliff this year. They could get out of this, save 16 million, and eat only 1.4 million in dead money. So technically, you could kick this can down the road if you're really confident. You get Dotson to take a restructure here, saves you money, gets you to 31 million, and you could kind of play around with this. I mean, again, these are options as well. You cut Parkinson and Williams, it puts you at about 38 million in cap. You see what I'm talking about? There's not a ton of things that they can do with this money. They can also re-sign and extend Kyron Williams, which I do believe that they want to do. Will they get it done? They were also really trying to get it done with Ernest Jones. That did not turn out working out, obviously, as we know. But you could get something done with Kyron that lowers this cap hit. That's certainly possible. It's not a huge cap hit. You could work on getting an extension done with Tyler Higbee and have this cap hit go down and pay more next year. If this is it, then you're not going to touch this deal. If this is it with Darius Williams, you're not going to restructure him. But if you love what Darius Williams is doing at age 32 and you feel like, yeah, why not? Well, you restructure, saves you $3 million, makes the cap hit 5.7, and now his cap hit next year's $12 million. Now, do you want to do that? That's the question. Personally, I don't. So I think more likely than a restructure is a cut. I'm not saying he will, but more than likely. Restructure is the least likely in this scenario. Colby Parkinson, I would say a trade is probably the most likely of cut, trade, and restructure. But if you did restructure, what does that look like? It saves you $3.2 million. Of course, it makes him pretty expensive in 2026 cap-wise. The cut, though, would save you about 3.1, give you a $6.6 million dead money cap hit. You could also do a post-June 1st trade. You could trade him. You save $5.6 million, cut him. As far as this is how we'll do it. This is the most likely option if they move on from Darius Williams. If they choose to restructure, trade, or cut, that's what we're going to do. We're going to play restructure, trade, or cut. This is the game. Darius Williams is most likely to get cut. I would say they keep him. Parkinson is most likely, if he does get moved or restructured, he is likely to be traded. That's what I'm saying. That's the most likely there. Havenstein is most likely to not have his contract touched at all. Adams won't have his contract touched at all. Cooper Kupp, of course, I think is most likely to be cut, but there is a trade option here, an opportunity here. So if these happen, by the way, that's $40.5 million. And of course, if Cooper Kupp does get traded, that puts you at $45 million. So I think this is the most likely, though. He gets cut. Parkinson gets traded. Williams gets cut. Higbee, nothing doing. Alaric Jackson, this contract does not get touched, obviously. Kyron, this contract could get, restructured in a way where it benefits the Rams while giving him an extension. Yeah, that's pretty much it. They can't really do a hell of a whole lot. They can cut Darion Kendrick and save $3.4 million. I think they're most likely to keep him. But, maybe they really like Forbes, so they decide to cut Kendrick. And that's really it. I mean, aside from that, like Blake Corum, I've heard people bring him up. Like, why not move on from Blake Corum? What are you gaining? I don't care if you like him or dislike him. Blake Corum is a cost-effective running back in a tough salary cap era. You don't just get rid of a dude like that. You don't. So that's how I feel about that. Let's see here. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I think Stetson Bennett is likely going to get cut here, but it's not like this is going to have a huge impact. Yeah, I mean, Sean Jolly saves you $1 million. That's probably realistic. This is just combing through the roster at this point. Yeah, I mean, at this point, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Like, could they move on from like Jack Heflin? Sure, but like, what is that really going to do? That gives you about $960K. Like, I don't think that's enough. So, yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. You can, of course, cut some of these guys. Like, no guaranteed money. These are not guaranteed salaries. Obviously, you're not going to cut Justin Dedick. That's a great deal. But you see what I'm saying? This is what you're looking at. These are your options. I mean, really, Darius Williams is one of the only ways to free up some cap space. Colby Parkinson, Cooper Kupp, restructuring Kevin Dotson. That's like the only deal that you can restructure. Darion Kendrick getting cut and like Stetson Bennett, and then some of these guys like Sean Jolly and some of these other guys. Like, that's really it. Drake Stoops, he just got suspended. That would save $840K. Puts you at $45.8 million in cap space if you do all of that. And again, we have no clue what Stafford's cap hit's going to be in 2025. Like, if they did something crazy and his cap hit dropped to like 30, then the Rams have way more cap space than this, obviously. So, that's also in play. I mean, with all this, and if they say they drop Stafford's cap hit to 30, you'd be looking at $60 million in cap space. Now, again, this isn't the best free agency class. It's just not. But I saw Garrett. Shout out to Garrett. I see you. You asked about the 2026 class. Yeah, let's take a look at it. It's 102 over here. Sorry about that. All right. So 2026 class, here are your quarterbacks: Aaron Rodgers, Geno, Daniel Jones, Gardner Minshew, Tyrod Taylor, Zach Wilson, Jimmy Garoppolo. Yeah, there's not really a ton there. So if Stafford were to retire, that wouldn't be great. Running backs. We'll do it by snaps. Look at Kyron Williams, by the way. 81.5% of snaps. Everyone else is way below him. Kyron, Breece Hall, Derrick Henry, Rashad White, Najee Harris, who just signed with the Chargers. Travis Etienne, I think, is a potential trade option. James Cook, Jerome Ford, Brian Robinson Jr., Kenneth Watt. This is a good running back class. Damn. Pacheco's in there. Holy hell. Jordan Mason, Eckler, Warren. Oh yeah, this is a good running back class. Definitely. All right, anyway. Wide receivers. You got Garrett Wilson, Jamar Chase, Drake London. Love Ray McLeod. Like all these guys and then Ray McLeod. No offense to him. Cortland Sutton, Terry McLaurin, Jacoby Myers, Jalen Tolbert, Wan'Dale Robinson, Alec Pierce, Jamison Williams, George Pickens, Juwan Jennings, Deebo Samuel, Romeo Doubs, Mike Evans, Jahan Dotson, T. Higgins, Calvin Austin, Jalen Naylor, Christian Watson, Jalen Coker, Adam Thielen, Diami Brown, Tutu Atwell, John Metch. There's a lot of guys here. Damn. Rashid Shaheed, Chris Olave. Yeah. There's a lot of free agents here. Good wide receiver class. What about tight end? Ooh. Trey McBride, Travis Kelce, George Kittle, Cade Otton. There's no way all these guys will be free agents. Kyle Pitts, Mark Andrews, Chig Okonkwo, Isaiah Likely, Colby Parkinson. Oh, is... What? Void? What? Is that new? When the hell did they void his deal? What in the hell am I looking at? Is this wrong? They're saying that he voided his 2026. Well, they voided his 2026 year. That doesn't make any sense. He signed a 3-year deal. $22 million over 3 years. Why is this a void? The Rams aren't paying $9 million in void money. There's got to be an error here. That doesn't even make sense. Oh, he has a void clause. Huh. That's interesting. I'm going to look on Spotrac and see if they have the... Spotrac normally has the language. Like over the cap, it normally has the money down correctly, but they never have like the language. And... Oh, okay. So this is... Okay, this is exactly what they did. No, it's not a void year. So what it is, guys, is it's just like the... Remember when Coleman Shelton left the first time? If he played 70% of snaps, he get to void out of his deal his last year. That's what it is. Colby Parkinson with 75 receptions or 750 yards in 2024 or 2025, or 115 receptions or 1,150 yards across. Oh, that's interesting. That is really interesting. So where is Colby Parkinson at this point? What are we looking at here? He's not going to hit that. Well, actually, hold on a sec. So if Colby Parkinson, let's see here. Yeah, he absolutely could hit that. I'm not saying it's going to happen. Yeah, no, I agree. Colby has the right to void. But Colby gets a void if he hits 750 yards. Oh, wait, no, that's not right. No. Yeah, he's not going to hit the... So here's the incentive. Yeah, I'm sure you can read that. Yeah, that's not happening. This is the incentive right here. So basically, if he wants out of this deal, I don't know why he would. He has to have 75 receptions or 750 yards in a season, which he didn't do last year, so he'd have to do it this year. Since that's probably not likely to happen, right? If you're looking at his stats, Colby Parkinson, okay, needs 85 receptions. So he'd basically need the thing. And then his yards here. Yeah. So he needs to hit that because I have 821 here on my nifty calculator on my phone. So he need to have 85 receptions and 821 yards. That would be how he would hit this. So actually this is more likely. And it's not likely. So I think really their thought process in this and why Colby was, why this is in the deal is the thought process going into this is if they struck gold, and honestly, I believe they did at the time. I don't know if they did anymore, but if they struck gold, you get a guy who has 600 yards in back-to-back seasons. Actually, no, scratch that. They really were just looking for him to hit. Nope, not even that. Let's see. 560 yards in back-to-back seasons would have put him over that. That's really all they needed. If he got that, he would have been able to opt out. He's not opting out. There's no void here. The Rams will probably move on because, look, you see the dead money here, not a lot. They save about $7 million. Only $2 million in dead money if they move off him then. So, yeah. I don't even remember why we looked it up, but I'm glad we did. I love learning, man. If I don't know it, I'm going to look it up. That's just how I am. So, anyway. Okay. What the hell was I doing? Where the hell? Okay, let's go back to 2026. Yeah, a lot of left tackles there. Damn, a lot of left tackles. They're good, though. They don't need anybody. They got Alaric. Left guards. Some decent left guards, but they're going to be paying Avila, I believe. Center. Interesting there. Bradbury has a void there. Obviously, I expect Dotson to stay, but right tackle. Do you think they add on to? I mean, Falele, who's been moved to a guard anyway. Penning, Zach Tom. I mean, Zach Tom would be a good one if you move on from Havenstein. Zach Tom, Caleb McGarry, Taylor Moton, who's got a void. Although, I mean, he's 32, so it's not exactly like Trey Pipkins. Braden Smith, he's 30. Okay, so Havenstein would be 34 then. I mean, Abraham Lucas, I still think Evan Neal would be a good, like, you draft him. You pick him up and you try to develop him. I'm not saying he would be your de facto starter. There are definitely some options there. I'm not saying there's a ton, though, because there's not. I think Abe Lucas is an intriguing one here. 28 years of age. We'll keep an eye on that. IDLs, I think the Rams are pretty good in interior. Just pay your own guys. Edge, I think they're pretty darn good. TJ Watt's obviously going to be off this board. Maybe Andrew Van Ginkel. I know they tried to get him. He'll definitely hit whatever void deal he has. Nick Bonito. Yeah, this is a good class. Holy hell. Kayvon. Oh my God. Linebacker. TJ Edwards deal did not age well. Caden Ellis. I like Quincy Williams a lot. I don't know if he's going to void out a deal where he can be with his brother, but maybe. Jermaine Pratt's already a free agent, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, Nakobe Dean. Devin Lloyd, Nakobe Dean, Kenneth Murray, Quay Walker, Terrell Bernard. I thought Bernard got signed. Leo Chenal, Pace, Malcolm Rodriguez. There are definitely some guys in this one that the Rams might have interest in if they choose to actually sign a linebacker. Cornerback. Stingley, Trent McDuffie, Taylor Britt, Alante Taylor, Benford. Benford will get signed. Tariq Woolen. I could see Woolen. Sauce Gardner is going to cost so much money. Monteric Brown. I remember loving him in the draft at Arkansas. Kobe could be back. Yeah. Deron Bland. Yeah, there's some interesting players here. How about safety? Nick Cross, Kirby Joe. No. Geno Stone, Byard, Lake, Curl. Yeah. Anyway, we looked at the 2026 free agency. How do I have 415 people watching me right now? That is wild. I appreciate you guys. You guys are friggin' awesome. So look, here's what's going to go down the rest of the week. So for any Lakers fans that follow Downtown Lakers, also be sure to follow that or subscribe to that channel that I do with Ethan Chirazi. Ethan is out of town. We're not doing Downtown Lakers this week. We're going to be doing 2 episodes next week, so tune in for that. But as far as other stuff, I have an interview coming out this week on the lounge with a Ram. I doubt you're going to guess who it is, so don't even try. So yeah, interview with a Ram, current Ram, not a free agent, this week on the lounge. Obviously we're gonna have, we're gonna have content throughout the week. There's probably gonna be other signings. I'll keep you guys up to date. Tomorrow night at 9, we got Bleacher Report live. So guys, definitely be sure to follow me over on Bleacher Report, JK Bogan on the Bleacher Report app. So that's what I have tomorrow. And then I'm recording that interview with said Ram for the lounge on Thursday. And we might have DTR on Friday. I'll have to get back to you on that. But yeah, busy stuff. And don't worry, we'll have plenty more content again, like I said. So anyway, appreciate you guys for real. You guys are awesome. Love y'all. Appreciate you representing, supporting. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button, the subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit the bell icon so you can be part of the Noti gang, the notification gang. That's what that means. So if you hit the bell icon, then you're probably going to hit the Powerball or whatever tomorrow. I don't know. But nonetheless, appreciate it. I went live spur of the moment. You guys showed up and showed out. It's awesome. I love doing content during this time of year. I'm exhausted, so when I start to, feel like I'm about to crash or whatever, I just feel like it's best to end the stream. So hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys tomorrow in some capacity. I'm sure we're going to have news. Obviously, the Cooper Kupp stuff, there'll be a video out for and all that. But you guys take it easy. See you soon.